Welcome to the monthly Japan Business Seminars by Scaling Your Company. Our topic for today is new/qualified Japan Invoice System for Business. We are joined by Shimpei Wakana, a Keio University alumni who has 10 years of accounting experience and offers personalized and friendly support completely in English. He is a certified public accountant and an expert in corporate tax and sales tax. He also specializes in tax audits for small and medium-sized companies. Our host for today is Tyson Bettino. Tyson has founded two successful companies in Japan, with one of them being one of the top 10 largest English language schools for adults in Japan. He now coaches 25 plus entrepreneurs on how to scale sales, marketing, recruitment, and manage teams and leaders to grow businesses. Let's dive into the seminar.
Excellent. Thank you everyone for coming today. This is our sixth seminar from Scaling Your Company, which focuses on Japan, doing business in Japan. Our first seminar was on accounting with the same guest as Shimpei today. We've also done seminars on social media in Japan, renting an office in Japan, and a labor expert, just labor law in Japan. And I think we'll send links to the recordings for that in the chat later. And for today, we're going to dive into the new invoice system, which comes into effect next month. And so we'll have around, I think this presentation will be around 30 to around 45 minutes. Then we'll have around 30 to around 45 minutes to answer any questions that you have. Cool. And I think we'll be able to answer a majority of your questions. And we did a practice. We tend to do practice runs with my clients first in smaller groups, ask a lot of questions. So I think Shimpei will be ready for a lot of the questions that you have. Okay, so for Shimpei is a Keio University alumni. He has 10 years of experience as a certified public accountant. He's an expert in corporate tax and sales tax. And he can also help with if you ever get audited by the government, he can also help for small and medium-sized businesses. And I think one unique point or two unique points about Shimpei versus other accountants in Japan is one is he can provide support in English. And also he can use communication software like Slack. Chatwork is for Japanese, standard in Japan, but Xero, Australian company, and QuickBooks, in addition to Japanese accounting software. And we'll put a link to their website, matchpointaccounting.com. And you can put that in the link chat later. As for myself, I've created two successful companies in Japan already. The first company I made has about 50 full-time employees and maybe 150 part-time employees working around 20 hours a week. So pretty big operation that I've helped create. And now I'm advising and coaching around probably 32 entrepreneurs based in Japan on how to do marketing sales, recruitment, and running operations for their business. And yeah, we've had some pretty good success with the companies that I help. Yeah, I might be looking for maybe one or two more companies at most. And usually I just meet them once or twice a month. And I pretty much help you solve whatever problem you're facing. Cool. In addition to that, we have the Scaling Japan podcast, where we have around 50 episodes now. One example is D2C e-commerce, how to get a bank loan in Japan. So we have a lot of content, and we get about 300 listeners per episode now. We have a Japan investor list, which you can see on our website. If you're looking for investment and you're a startup, we've made a list of investors in Japan who have already invested in foreign entrepreneurs. So rather than wasting your time contacting everyone, you know who is foreign friendly. We do free seminars, usually probably 6 times a year. And we're probably next month, we're going to do one on how to get Japanese subsidies. So we're working on finding a guest. If you know someone who is a potential, I have a guest in mind, but if you know any potential sharoshis or someone who's an expert in applying for subsidies who can speak English, we are looking for a guest next month on applying for subsidies. And we also have around 50 to probably 60 to 70 articles on doing business in Japan at scalingyourcompany.com. Cool. So now that that's out of the way, so yeah, to talk about the new invoice system for Japan. So just a quick overview. It's we'll explain the consumption tax system in Japan, explanation of the new invoice system, what you have to do, and any changes you need to make to your invoice. And Shimpei has found some templates as well, which we'll provide during the session about the new invoice. Cool. We'll also have some time to talk about some changes, potential changes in accounting coming the next year, and some Q&A time. But Shimpei, thank you. I've kind of covered a lot of things, and I'll let you explain the consumption tax system.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is Shimpei Wakana, and first of all, thank you for attending our webinar today. And sorry, before we start, a little bit about myself. I'm a registered tax accountant in Sapporo and at Matchpoint Tax Accounting Firm. I've been working with thousands of businesses just like yours all across Japan for the last 11 years. Today, I'm going to talk about the new qualified invoice system. If you didn't already know, this system starts this October 1st. And as an accountant, I have to tell you, this system is very complicated and everyone is puzzled. So what is the system for? What will change and what must be done? But no worries. In spite of how complicated it appears, there are only 3 or 4 key considerations. I'm going to explain important things, and this will help you make some critical decision about whether you should register or not, what you should do in advance, and what you should do after this system begins. And we're going to have a Q&A session at the end of this webinar. In the Q&A, we will cover more generic questions that would apply to most people. For more specific questions, we can exchange emails and follow up later. Okay, and first, explanation of consumption tax. So let's go on the first topic. Firstly, I'd like to tell you about consumption tax because the qualified invoice system is regulated for only consumption tax, only Shohizei. So it has nothing to do with individual income tax, Shotokuzei, corporate tax, Hojinzei, or any other taxes. So I'm going to explain this tax law first. The outline. Consumption tax is levied when a business enterprise transfers goods, provides services, or imports goods into Japan. The tax rate is 10%, and for certain goods, such as food, it's 8%. And specified transaction, such as sales or lease of land, sales of securities, and provision of public services are not subject to taxation. And enterprises whose taxable sales are 10 million yen or less for 2 years ago are exempt from consumption tax filing and liability. For example,
and we'll explain. Okay, cool. You'll cover the 2-year example. Okay, please continue.
Thank you. For example, if you surpass taxable sales over 10 million yen in 2023, you have consumption tax liability from your 2025 fiscal year. And tax liability means given the sales tax you collected to the government. And consumption tax on taxable purchases may be deducted from consumption tax on taxable sales when calculating the amount of consumption tax to be paid. So taxable sale minus taxable purchases is your sales tax payment. That is to say, the total sales tax you need to pay the government is the sales tax you collected minus the sales tax you paid other companies.
And I'll give a quick example. Let's say that you've collected 5 million yen in sales tax, so 10%. So maybe you had sales of 50 million yen. And so 5%, or sorry, 5 million yen you've collected in sales tax from your customers. But in terms of expenses, maybe you've spent 300 million, so maybe 3 million. 30 million. And so you've paid sales tax of 3 million. So because you've collected 5 million, but only paid for 3 million, you have to pay the government 2 million. So that's how it works.
Quick question. When you say million, are you talking hyakuman or iseman? Just to be clear.
I think more of the point is if you paid 5 million yen in tax, you've collected 5 million yen in consumption tax, but you've paid 3 million yen in consumption tax already for your expenses. Okay. You still owe the government. You have to return 2 million yen to the government.
Got it. Okay.
For sales tax. Cool.
Okay. Sorry, I forget to say one thing. Consumption tax or sales tax, since I'm not sure which one sounds more natural to express Shohizei, so I use both words in this webinar. Thank you for understanding. And okay, and after this October 1st, taxable purchases other than those from business enterprises or qualified invoices will no longer be eligible for deduction for consumption tax on purchases. In other words, if you don't register, your business partner will not be able to deduct sales tax when they pay you. Their tax payment will increase. This might be a big problem for the partner, and they might ask you for discount. However, a transitional measure has been established to treat a certain percentage of the amount equivalent to the consumption tax on purchases to be deductible. Simply put, your business partner can deduct 80% of the consumption tax they paid to you in case you didn't register. This transitional measure lasts 3 years. For the following 3 years, they can deduct 50%. Because of this, it won't be a big problem right now that you don't need to rush to register. And this is a basic knowledge of consumption tax, which is a premise for understanding the new invoice system. Okay.
Okay, and I'll also explain. So to give an example, so from 2023 October, it's if you're not paying, or like, let's say, if you're under 10 million yen and you don't have to pay the government, you don't have to, I guess the best way to describe is you don't have to give back to the government the consumption tax that you've collected. It's from October 2023, the company who's paying you, they can only claim 80% as a deduction. So for those of you who are consultants to large corporations, but you do not pay, you don't return sales tax to the government, this system will definitely impact you. To give an example, let's say that you've billed one corporation 10 million, or sorry, let's say you billed them 10 million yen. They've paid 1 million yen in sales consumption tax. Under this new system, if you're not, let's say, a registered, let's say, taxable entity for the consumption tax, it's they will not be able to deduct. They'll only be able to deduct 800,000 yen. 200,000 yen, they're going to essentially lose. And so that kind of creates a problem for them. And so that's what Shimpei means by they might ask you to lower your prices because they don't want to lose that extra 200,000 yen. I'm just going to check and I think one person mentioned that some clients have mentioned they won't accept invoices if they're not registered. Or two people said that, and I've heard that from probably around 3 other people as well, especially those who do consultants to medium and large enterprises. Shimpei, was everything I said correct?
Yeah, that's
Cool.
right.
So yeah, I think Shimpei, you did give an explanation of the new invoice system.
Okay, so I'd like to go on to the next topic.
Okay.
Thank you. Number 2, in this part, I'm going to talk about the outline of the new invoice system. The qualified invoice system is a method to receive a tax deduction for consumption tax. And under this system, for the buyer to receive a tax deduction for consumption tax on purchases, retention of a qualified invoice issued by the business enterprises of qualified invoice will be required. For the seller to issue a qualified invoice, it must be registered as a business enterprise of qualified invoice by the tax office. And when you register, you become a taxable person even if your taxable sales 2 years ago are below 10 million yen. Consumption tax must be filed and paid every year. But if you are a non-taxable person right now, you don't need to file a consumption tax return and make the payment. But you can still charge your client's consumption tax normally. So, sorry.
No, I'll let you finish that point. After, I wanted to explain the years again, the 50% and 80%. I need to explain that more clearly. So after this point, I will explain that.
Okay. Could I continue that?
Yes.
Okay. And therefore, for the non-taxable persons, the consumption tax is simply the revenue. However, in 2023, this October 1st, the new system will be introduced and you may have to become a taxable person. And taxable purchases made from parties other than business enterprises of qualified invoices, such as tax-exempt businesses and consumers, are not eligible for a tax deduction for consumption tax. And taxable persons want to deduct consumption tax. They charge their customers. So they would purchase products or services from taxable persons rather than non-taxable persons. Yeah, and this is the basic. And then let's take a look at 3 cases.
And I'll explain the years. So from 2023 October, and Shimpei, so it's 80% from 2023 October until the end of 2024? Does it become
2026?
Okay, 2026, it'll change to 50%.
Yeah.
So pretty much, yeah. So that's the big difference. And I think, and when it's going to change again, it's going to get lower after that, right?
Yeah. And in 2029, it becomes 0.
So like, yeah, so this system doesn't benefit entrepreneurs at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one point. So I want to clarify the years for everyone. The second point I want to explain, what might be easier to understand, is this new invoice system is called the qualified invoice system. So for a corporation to get the full deduction on their consumption taxes, they need to be paying people who use the qualified invoice system. And for you to give a qualified invoice to your clients, you have to be registered for this system. And if you're registered for this system, hey, Shimpei, please confirm this. Yeah. To be qualified, you have to pay consumption tax.
Yes.
Yourself.
Yeah. Even if your taxable sales 2 years ago are below 10 million yen.
Yes. Yeah. Even if you are below. So I wanted to clarify that so everyone understands the year, but also the terminology of qualified versus not qualified invoice. Yeah. And Shimpei is going to give us a template later on what a qualified invoice looks like.
I think we have a question in the chat on start date.
Let me double check that. That is a good question that's related. Shimpei, for the start date, so for October 2023 as the start date, is this related to the invoice date or the payment date?
And invoice date. So I'm going to explain later, but it starts on October 1st. So just a moment, please. And it starts from October 1st. So it starts from your services. So closed at September and send your invoice at the partner. It doesn't.
Oh, so the work has to be done.
Yeah.
And then you send the invoice.
Yeah.
Thanks for explaining that. And the other questions we'll jump into later since it's okay. So I guess we talked about over 10 million.
Yeah. Okay. I split 3 cases and
do you want to go case?
Yeah.
Case A.
Let's take a look at 3 cases. Who does it affect? I'm going to explain one by one. There are 3 cases. And number 1, case A. Case A means taxable sales 2 years ago, over 10 million yen. It means you are already a taxable person. In this case, you have to register. Unfortunately, you have no choice. You have to register. If you haven't registered yet, just hand in the document, and I'm going to tell you how you can submit the document later. Okay. Could I go on to the next case? Okay, case B. It's a bit complicated. Case B, under 10 million yen and running B2B business. It means you have clients. If you run a B2B business and your taxable sales 2 years ago are under 10 million yen, it's case by case, to be honest. This case is the most difficult. To sum up, it depends on the relationship with other party. So you should register if your partner tells you to. And I'm going to talk about it later, but there is a special exception where you don't have to pay so much consumption tax, even if you register and become taxable. And if you have a good relationship with your business partner and they don't ask you anything, you don't have to register right now. Well, it's case by case and it's the most difficult. Yeah. Okay, so could I go on to the case C? Yeah, case C, it means under 10 million yen 2 years ago and running B2C business. It means you have customers. If you run a B2C business and your taxable sales 2 years ago are under 10 million yen, you shouldn't register, I think. In this case, your customers are a non-taxable person. So there's no problem if you don't register. So I say again, you shouldn't register in this case. Okay, so I have briefly presented 3 cases. Only case B needs to be considered. If you are a case B and are not sure, please contact me later and I'll answer all the questions. Okay, so
let me just double check.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's related. I'm reading the question. How would this affect people sending invoice as
the 個人事業 versus 法人事業?
Oh, if you're Hojin Jugu, you're already you're a taxable entity. So like oh no, sorry, that doesn't actually, that's not correct. That is correct, right? If you're Hojin, you're already so I'm not sure if I get your question, because if you're a Hojin
but both are treated at the same if you are sole proprietor, 個人事業, or corporate, 法人事業.
What about when we hire like students and such and hire them as an outsource? Are they required to also register?
Yeah. So in this case, so you are outsourcing to some students. It means
Correct.
yeah. In this
As
case,
Gyom, I think, yeah, kind of like a
Or as a
Gyomitaku.
yeah. So it affects you, and whether the students register or not, your deduction will change.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's
Yeah.
definitely going to affect the students. I mean, or Shimpei, it's going to affect their, if you're paying a university student
Yeah.
as an outsource, it's going to affect your ability to deduct your consumption taxes. So I think you essentially lose 20%.
Yeah, that's correct. You deduct 80% of the consumption tax, but 20% is not.
Cool.
If they don't
So,
register. Yeah.
Cool. I think you handled that question.
Yeah.
And for the next question, I think I might just answer it myself in the chat.
Okay.
Because I think we've already covered that point. Okay. Shimpei, do you have anything on this? Or should I move to this slide?
Okay. And next is, how does it affect? As I mentioned before, maybe you have to add your tax number to the invoice. It's really easy, and I'll explain in detail later. And when does it affect? It's from this October 1st, maybe next week. Yeah. This is effective from the October invoice. So invoices closed in September and sent in October are not yet. It will start with invoices for services provided after October 1st. Yeah. Well, any questions so far?
There's one, but sorry, wait. The question is, does the 10 million yen sales mean cumulative in the past year? So I think the 10 million means it's, so Shimpei, if you can correct me. So let's say that if you made 10 million, or typically if you made 10 million in 2023 yen, then let's say 2025, you have to start paying consumption tax.
Yeah.
Cool.
So even if your income, your sales over 10 million yen this year, you shouldn't pay consumption tax this year. It starts from 2 years later, 2025.
Yes, and Shimpei's point is, I mean, it's better that you don't register, but for some of you who work with corporations, they might not do business with you if you don't change.
Or they might ask you for a discount.
Yep. All right, gotcha. Discount is the other way. Cool. So I think these are points we've covered already. Hey, I'll just answer this one in the chat because I think we had some questions that we didn't cover, and we'll cover that in the Q&A. Shimpei, I'll answer this one because I don't think it will benefit everyone. It's
Did I answer?
There's one more, but I think it's a point that we've covered already.
Okay.
So Shimpei, please continue.
Okay, so let's go on to the next topic, number 3. What do you have to do in advance? Maybe. Okay. Okay, what do you have to do in advance? I have to tell you, when you decide to register or when you register, what do you need to do in advance? My answer is, it's really easy. You just submit the document to the tax agent. And of course, you can ask your accountant to submit it. And I'd like to check the form of the document. Maybe it's could you share this on the screen?
Oh, okay.
I have PDF link on my document.
Okay, is
I've
that the one
shared
that
the-
Haken sent?
Thank you. This is a form of the registration. But it seems a little bit difficult, but it's really easy. All you have to do in advance is to submit this document to the tax agent, and you just need to fill in the name of the corporation, address, and name of the representative, plus a few checks, and you're done. That's it. And once you submit this, you will receive a registration number from the tax office. For corporations, the rules are set. T plus 12-digit corporate number. So you can look them up in advance. This is because all companies are given a corporate ID number. There are no exceptions, and it's publicly available. But no worries, it's not dangerous at all for someone to be known. And 12-digit corporate number, you can see your number by searching corporate number publication site and entering the prefecture and company name. But if you are a sole proprietor, 個人事業, you will not see the number until you receive a notification from the tax office. When the registration is made, the name of the registered invoice issuers and their registration numbers can be confirmed through the website of the National Tax Agency. To be a registered invoice issuer from October 1st, the application must be submitted on or before September 30th. This is an explanation of what you have to do in advance.
And one person mentioned in the chat, thanks for sharing, Paula. It took her 10 weeks.
Yeah, that's
to
right.
get her number.
I applied in
10 weeks. Oh.
Yeah. And they told me it would probably be about 6.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was 10 weeks. I got it in August, mid-August, and I applied way back end of June. So it doesn't come immediately. And I actually had clients in early June asking me if I'd registered and saying that if I didn't register, I wouldn't be able to submit invoices. So I basically hot-footed it to your tax office and registered.
Yeah, 6 weeks is too long. Well, sorry,
6 weeks.
Yeah,
10 weeks is too long.
Gotcha.
So one person said 6 weeks, and one person said 10 weeks. No, thanks for sharing.
Thanks for sharing
the report from the ground. And we posted this link to the file in the Zoom chat. So if you want to download it. Shimpei, can I go back to the presentation?
Okay. So I'd like to go on to the next topic. The next page. How do you need to change your invoice? Number 4. Yeah, that's it. How do you need to change your invoices? And what exactly do we need to change on the invoice? The bottom line is, it's amazingly simple. Just put an additional registration number on it. This will be in the form of adding a 6th item to the previous 5 items. And how do I do it? Can I put the 6 items on chat?
Sure.
Okay.
And yeah, you can put in chat and you can read it out loud after.
Oh, okay. So sorry. Maybe I put the wrong slide.
I can do it.
sorry.
Sorry, thanks, Heiken.
I put the wrong slide.
Okay, so Heiken just post in the chat. Shimpei, can you?
Yeah. Okay. There are 6 required information after October 1st. Number 1, invoice issuer name, and registration number. It means your name and registration number. Number 2, transaction date, transaction details, and total price separated by tax rate 10% or 8%, and total consumption tax amount separated by the tax rate 8% and 10%, and client's name. Before September 30th, there aren't registration number. And I'd like to share an example. Heiki-san, could you share the PDF?
Done.
And okay. Sorry, it's low. Okay, it's low.
Thank you. There it is. Sorry, it might be a small, but could you see the invoice?
Did the Zoom show up, Heiken?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's showing up.
And
Cool. Hey,
that's it.
Shimpei, just tell me where to go and I'll go.
You are just a little bit. Could you go under? That's it. That's it. And could you a little more zoom up? Thank you. There it is. This is from the National Tax Agency. It's a form. It's an example of the new invoice system. At first glance, it's just an ordinary invoice, but look at the upper right. You can see the registration number, T plus 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Heiken, is my mouse showing?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Thank you, son. Yeah, the upper right, you can see the registration number, Toroku Bango, T0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the difference. The important thing is the registration number is on the invoice. If this is on the invoice you receive, they are registered. If not, they aren't. But yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Heiki-san. Any question about this new invoice?
And I think we can cover it at the end. And one other thing that's related. Okay, yeah, I think that's a related question. So one thing, one person mentioned, thanks, Garrett. If you register online, you'll get your number faster.
Yeah.
And one person mentioned they got it, it's on the e-tax system, and they got it in about 1 week.
Maybe e-tax is faster than you mail to the tax office.
Yeah, so it seems the people who mailed it took 6 to 10 weeks, and the person who did it on the e-tax system online got it in 1 week for those who are in a rush.
Oh, well, yeah.
Shimpei, we have one related question. Terry asks, what's the difference between number 4 and 5? So I think that's this 4 and 5.
Simply put, number 4 means before tax price. And number 5 means tax.
Like the total tax.
Yeah, total tax.
So 4 would be like maybe 10 million.
Yeah.
And then 5 would be 1 million.
1 million, yeah.
The 10% tax.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions related to this section?
Quick question, and that is in regards to that explanation in the PDF form in English, could that be made available for download in the chat?
Yeah.
It's already in the chat, I think.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's about 7 messages up. Heiken just posted it again, John.
Oh, thank you, Heiki-san.
Thank you.
Good job, Heiken. It's KY. Or never mind. Actually, it's not. It's the opposite. It's you can read the errors. You can read the errors. So that's good job. My bad.
Got it. Thank you.
It's for the question, if we have different invoices, different invoice is fine.
Of course, fine.
So the example we're providing, it's for the qualified invoice system.
Yeah. So all you have to do is it's on the 6 required information.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't follow this template.
if the qualified invoice is not clear, I think we're going to send the recording later, and you can listen to the recording again, and it covers what the qualified invoice system is if you're just joining in. So you don't have to, but yeah, you can just rewatch this lecture, and it'll explain that in detail. Does anyone have any questions about this specific section? Okay. And we'll move back to
Okay. And I'd like to mention about accounting system. What changes are coming to the accounting system due to the change? It's simple. There's no worries about accounting software because any Japanese accounting software such as Money Forward, Yayoi, Free, or JDL, and so on will deal with the new system. So there's no worries. Okay, then can I go to the next
and
page?
Also my experience too, like I use Money Forward, and it's extremely easy to use this. Or it's you can choose. And so it's really easy with accounting software, Japanese ones. And I think also Stripe, like any financial technology in Japan has already made the changes already. Cool. Anything else, Shimpei?
That's it on this topic.
And sorry, just a quick word from myself.
Okay.
It's in addition to consulting, I also have kind of a simple marketing agency. And the ways that we help people is we can help you with SEO. So for example, with one of my first company, we get about 250,000 website visitors a month. For my English school, for my Japanese language school, Japan Switch, we get about 60,000 unique visitors a month, and that's all through SEO. So we're pretty decent at SEO. Also, we create websites. So I think we created Shimpei's website, and Shimpei has the website we created. Helped you out.
Could I mention that?
Sure.
Yeah, they're simply amazing, and we're so glad with the results we have seen with scaling your marketing. And they help us build our website and connect to their large audience of foreign business owners. And we only had 2 or 3 foreign clients in about 1 year, but we have gained 3 foreign clients in only 2 months. And they not only helped us with the website, but improve our sales process to foreigners. And they gave us a lot of advice on how to gain more clients in a specific way, and we made it. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure they help you a lot.
Thanks for preparing a script. It's very kind. But yeah, we doubled the inquiries in for 1 year and 2 months, and also increased their sales conversion rate. But we can make websites in English and Japanese, and the other website we just finished, we increased their website conversion rate by double. So they went from 5 to 10 inquiries a month. Also, Google Maps. I'm probably one of the best in Japan for Google Maps. Shinjuku, Ueno, Tokyo, I've ranked in the top 3 like more than 40 times. So Google Maps, I'm probably one of the best in Japan. And content marketing as well, we're pretty strong, like podcasts, ebooks. But yep, that's how we can help your business. Hey, Ken, if you could post a link to our marketing agency services. And we're very affordable. And we focus a lot on conversion rate, getting conversion, since we're business owners ourselves. So we understand. Cool. Next, Shimpei, any changes coming in 2023 or 2024 for accounting? So I guess it's pretty much probably 2024.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. We have a question on our marketing side in the chat.
Okay, so could I go on to the next topic?
Sure.
Okay. Next topic is any other changes coming in 2023 or 4. This section deals with other issues for invoices. And I have 2 points here. Simplified qualified invoice and 20% rule. And I like to go with simplified first. The first is simplified qualified invoice. For transaction involving a large number of customers, such as retailers, restaurants, taxis, English schools, etc., simplified qualified invoice, which doesn't require the invoice recipient name to be stated, can be issued instead. It's easy to understand if you imagine a receipt. In the business with many customers, it would be too strict if you have to write the name of each customer to be accepted as a qualified invoice. Therefore, it can be accepted as a qualified invoice without the customer's name. Yeah. And the next section is 20% rule. It might be a little complicated, but I explain it one by one. And the new invoice system will have an impact on small businesses. They are not required to file a consumption tax return because of their annual sales. However, due to the new invoice system, some of them need to file it after October 23. This is just an additional cost, given that there will be a new rule for them. This 20% rule is for those who were a non-taxable person, but have registered to become a taxable person. If a non-taxable person become a taxable person because of the registration, their consumption tax payment can be 20% of their annual sales tax. Okay, let's take a look at an example. The example is if your annual sales are 6,600,000 yen. 6,600,000 yen. How much is your tax payment? It means 6 million sales plus 600,000 yen sales tax. The answer is very simple. In this case, your tax payment will be 120,000 yen. This can be calculated by multiplying 600,000 yen of sales tax by 20%. And let's say I have one business partner that pays for the whole 6,600,000 yen. How much of the 600,000 yen can they deduct here? As you see, and this will reduce your sales tax payment. This 20% rule will be available from October 2023 to September 2026. And in other words, even if you don't register right now, you and your clients will not be imposed a significant tax increase. This concludes the description of Chapter 5. Okay.
Okay. Sorry, I need to. Okay. And we'll go. So actually, we'll have a lot of time for questions today. So I think we'll be able to address everyone's question.
Sure.
And before we jump into questions, I did promote my marketing agency, but one of the attendees, Jeff Crawford, if you're looking for like international SEO or like extremely competitive, he is better than I am. I'm very good, but he is amazing. So I did want to give that shout out.
Thanks a lot, Tyson, for the shout out. Very much appreciated.
Yes, Jeff is awesome. And
Jeff is awesome. Yep, correct.
For Matchpoints, it's Matchpoints, it's so Shimpei, the accounting agency that he works for. It's Shimpei, you want me to explain or you want to say it?
Okay. And simply put, we were founded in 2019 with 7 members, and we'll have 85 members this October. And our goal is to expand further and become the #1 tax accounting firm in Japan in 5 years. And our clients are nationwide. And we also have foreign companies that have expanded into Japan, as well as Japanese companies that have expanded into foreign countries. And our strength is that we don't have a single person in charge, but rather a team of people with different roles. In many cases, accounting firms assign a single person to be in charge of your company, but we have a team of specialists to support your business. We specialize not only in taxation, but also streamlining, cash management, and accounting operations like that. In particular, we are one of the best in Japan at implementing money forward. Thank you very much. I'd be happy to help you today.
Cool. And also they're based in Sapporo, but they can help people. They have clients all over Japan. Okay. And yeah, I guess I could so they provide bookkeeping services, year-end financial reporting, and tax consultations. I am a client myself, and I think one of the reasons or I chose Matchpoints over a different agency was for other agencies, they tend to charge probably around 150,000 yen, jugoman, for the year-end financial reporting, in addition to the monthly payments of 33,000. But with Matchpoint, it's the year-end financial reporting is included in the 300 or 33,000. So you essentially save about 150,000 jugoman.
Yeah. Our monthly fees are all included, therefore we don't charge extra. Plus, while most accounting firms charge extra fees in addition to monthly, such as tax returns, year-end adjustment, but we don't. Yeah.
And hey, Ken, could you provide a link to our article on accounting? So it's let's say, and now for like those who want really high service, like people to hold your hand, we'll explain the difference between accounting agency tiers in the article, just so you can have let's say a clear idea. Cool. And I think the second, Hagen, if you could put the accounting article link, Shimpei, I'll let you mention this one. Or I guess I can do it. If you just need to talk to Shimpei, just a one-time consultation, it's 12,000. Does that include consumption tax?
Yeah, so of course, yeah.
Okay.
One consultation is free, and if you sign up, I can offer you 1 month free.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yeah.
Sure.
Hi. So you just mentioned the 12,000. So I use free for my my invoicing, for my kakuteishin koku, and I do that myself and submit myself. But this year will be the first time for me to do consumption tax. I hit the 10 million amount like 2 years ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. Yeah. So happy I got the champagne here. Your 12,000 consultation, would that include just like a quick check of my final tax form in February next year? You'd do that. Okay. Excellent. And I have one more question. So I'm a consultant and a coach, and I deal directly with clients in Japan, and I do the invoicing. But I have some clients, for example, in the US or in Hong Kong, who the way we work together, it's like basically they say, okay, we're going to pay you $15,000 for this program. So I don't invoice them. I just get the money, and I need to, do whatever they want me to do. How do I deal with a consumption tax on that? I'm assuming that because the work takes place in Japan, that I still have to pay consumption tax on that. But obviously they don't pay that. Yeah.
They live in abroad, and
the client who hires me is abroad. So it's a company in the US who will hire me to work with one of their CEOs, for example, in Japan.
So
I'm paid from the US, but the work I do is in Japan.
So it means you shouldn't include the sales tax.
Okay.
It's not traditional transaction, right?
Okay, so I thought that if the work takes place in Japan, that it is liable for consumption tax. That's not correct.
And you mean
So her question is, the client is based in the US.
Yeah.
And the client pays from the US.
Yeah.
But she's servicing one of their staff members in Japan, but the payment is from the US. In this case, is she required to charge sales tax, consumption tax?
Oh, you don't need to.
And she made more than 10 million 2 years ago.
Oh, I see. So you said 10 million yen includes this kind of transaction?
I think is she legally required?
Oh, I see. Upper class, it's difficult.
Yeah, that is a good. It is a good question because I think it applies to a lot.
Could I look up and answer after this webinar?
Yeah, absolutely. And we can, you know, I can call you. We can chat over the phone if necessary as well. Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you.
That's thank you.
So we'll jump into the Q&A, and there's some people who asked questions much earlier. Oh, hey Ken, I have one request. In the document that we have for our notes for today's invoice, sorry, for this seminar, Shimpei provided a link for a template for the new invoice. So like for people, I think it's an online website, and where you could just generate an invoice online that's qualified. If you could share that in the chat. And I'm gonna go up, sorry, it's quite a bit up to go to the questions. I might have skipped the person, but I think okay, I might have skipped the person, but I think I'm going to Berechinsky, Christoph. Shimpei, are you ready?
Yeah.
So I'm going to post his question at the bottom.
Okay.
And yeah, oh yeah, Terry asks, oh, thanks, Terry. Or we'll go to Terry's one after. But for Christoph's question, what happens if in a given year the consumption tax collected is lower than the consumption tax paid? What do we do?
Oh, lower than consumption paid.
So the consumption tax paid is higher. The expenses is higher than what they've collected.
In this case, you can get, how do you say, the tax return from the tax office.
Okay, thank you. I was wondering about that because if it's going to work the same way as the income tax, or it's going to be like a carryover to the next year. So returns, there's going to be like a tax return, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Next question from Terry. It's hey King, could you read the question? Because I'm gonna try to. There's kind of a lot of questions above, and it's hard to find.
Sure.
So if you could read the next question to Heiken from Terry.
Sure. From Terry, some of my clients are asking me to register. If I register, would only my consumption tax for those clients be affected? Or would all my income streams be affected regardless of whether they ask me to be a qualified invoice issuer?
Good question. If I register, would only my consumption, only your consumption tax for those clients be up? Yes, it does. And would all my income streams be affected? Income.
Yeah, so essentially, I have one client who's asking me to register. I have already actually registered. So in that invoice, I put my invoice number, but for my other clients, I don't put it on. Is that correct?
So you registered and you already registered and you have a client?
Yes. I have one client who's asking me to be a qualified invoice issuer, but my other clients are not asking me. So only for that one client, I put my invoice number. Is that correct?
In this case, everyone is affected.
Oh, everyone.
Everyone of your clients. So you have to put the registration number on your invoice for every client?
Oh, even though some of them did not ask me.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, thank you.
And the next question is, oh, this is a good question too. How does it work if I make a purchase online from Amazon.com? So I think whoever asked this, I think is David. Do you mean like you paid consumption tax on your purchase from the US one?
Ah,
And
Yes.
you're asking if you can claim it
Yeah,
for
so
Japan.
we're making quite a few purchases from Amazon.com.
so it's like an import goods.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so it's not import business, or actually, I know this, David. It's not import business. I think it's more just they're buying something. You can't buy it in Japan.
You cannot buy in Japan on Amazon Japan, but you can buy it on Amazon.com.
Yeah.
Well, how does that work?
Well, you buy from the US, so if you import, you pay the consumption tax. How do I say that?
Or import is very technical term. I think they're just
buy.
They're just buying for use in their business. They're not importing to sell. So in his case, they're a English school and they need to buy English textbooks from overseas. They don't sell in Japan. And he's paying consumption tax on those items. So I think his question is, can he claim that sales tax that he paid to the US?
I guess you pay the consumption tax when you buy
on Amazon.
Yeah,
that's to US.
To US.
Yes.
How about Japan taxes? It's like import consumption tax.
Yeah, they usually it's automatic. They charge import fee.
Basically.
They usually will charge import fee. It's automatically added. But when you receive when you get the receipt, the receipt does not have a breakdown which one is which. It just has this is the total amount.
I see. So can't you see the specific details from Amazon? Just amount.
Well, it does show that usually it just shows the amount. I mean, it shows the tax, but it's a tax that's a US tax.
So if you see the details and there's a Japanese consumption tax, it affects. You can deduct the consumption tax from your tax payment.
Okay, so only Japanese, but not the tax that you paid.
Yeah,
to the
only
country.
Japanese tax. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hey King, could you read the second question from Gareth?
The second question for Gareth. So in your presentation, the latest one, okay. In your presentation, you mentioned B2B should probably register and B2C probably shouldn't register. However, I have a mixture of the two cases. Of course, I need to charge my B clients consumption tax, but am I legally required to charge consumption tax to my C clients, or could I just not charge them?
If you're registered and you're legally required to a registration number on it, and mixture register B2B probably.
I'll check Garrett's question. Sorry, everyone, I found the link to that Shimpei provided, where you could create a qualified invoice online. And Heiken, if you could save that to our notes, and we'll be sending an email later to everyone with all the links that we covered in return for registering for the event. We'll send it to you by email as well, so you don't lose anything. So for Garrett's question, in your presentation, you mentioned B2B should probably register and B2C probably shouldn't register. However, I have a mixture of the two cases. Oh, I see. Of course, I need to charge.
What's the proportion about B2B and B2C? 50-50 or? ATC, 20B. Oh, I see. Do your clients ask you to register?
But Shimpei, shouldn't he just charge them consumption? I guess never, because he has to probably pay it back to the government anyways. So I think the important question, Garrett, is are you over the 10 million, or like do you actually have to return the consumption tax back to the government? I think that's probably the more important question. He's under 10 million. So Shimpei, I think he should charge, because he can keep the consumption tax for now.
Tasma C clients. It's under 10 million. And under 10 million. I don't think you should register right now. But ATC 20B and under 10 million.
Yes, I think I think he should never mind, he has to register. He says his B2B clients are forcing him to. Yeah, that really sucks, because I think you're losing a lot of money. Like if you're let's say you're making 8 million, but you're collecting 800,000 yen in sales tax, which you don't have to give back. So essentially, if you were making 8 million, you might be losing out on 600,000 yen. Because 800,000, if you didn't register, you just have to pay 200,000, I think, or never mind, you'll be collecting, or you might have to discount, so you might lose 200,000. But if you could charge and in your case, you can't charge the clients that. So I think Shimpei, I think they're trying to force him, but maybe he could offer them a discount instead, possibly.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, maybe try asking them, let's say, rather than charging, you just discount them so they don't have to pay the amount. Not sure if that's possible, but if you were making 8 million, you're essentially losing 600 to 800,000 yen. That really sucks.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, it does suck. I agree, Terry. It's cool. I think, and Gareth had one more question, I think, that I didn't. I need to. Yeah, apologize to everyone. I think we could probably manage the questions better next time.
I think I found Gareth's first question.
Yeah, I did. I'm not clear. Okay, wait. I'm not clear on how much the consumption tax I've received from clients. So do I need to pay the government? No, that is a good question. Yeah. It's so Shimpei, he doesn't know how much consumption tax he has collected from clients.
I see.
So I think he's asking if he should do, I think, because there's did you cover the two methods, the 20%? I think he's asking if, because there's the two systems. One is the simplified versus the...
or 20% rule.
Yes, I think his question is, because he doesn't know, should he just do the simplified and pay 20%?
Yeah. And 20% rule I mentioned before is, it doesn't depend on your business style, but simplified, how to say it, calculating system, kaze in Japanese. Simplified percentage depends on the type of business carried out. It's right. But this 20% rule doesn't depend on your business. Everyone is 20%.
And Gareth, is that good to go? And if anyone else has a question, we've actually answered all the questions. If anyone doesn't have questions, I think we'll just, I think there's Shimpei, he didn't quite get the answer. So I wasn't listening as well. I was looking at something else, sorry. Shimpei, could you make your explanation again? Could you give your explanation again, and I'll try to summarize. Sorry, I wasn't listening, so I'll try to summarize this time. Could you answer his question again?
Sorry, which questions?
From Gareth, the same question. He didn't understand the answer.
I have collected my consumption tax from clients. Yeah, I only. So you are non-taxable right now and registered from this October, you mean? Registered and from October. Oh. In this case, it applies you to 20% rule. So all you have to pay is 20% of your collected. Sorry, does my answer make sense? And thank you.
Okay, cool. And so I think Terry asked, like, do you support freelancers? So our one-time consultations are best.
We actually support freelancers, sole proprietors, but for a sole proprietor, our fees might be expensive. So yeah, one-time consultations might be best for you.
Yeah, I think in my case, I am a freelancer, or I'm a I guess I'm not really a freelancer since I have a full-time employee, but I'm a sole proprietor. But in my case, I just don't want to. I think learning accounting is a waste of my time, since I can do marketing and sales really well. So for me, it's worth it, but for other people, it might not be worth it, like Shimpei said. So, but for me, it's I do for in my case, it's I just like to have the hour consultation each month as well, so I can learn as well. So for me, that's why I do it. I like having the 1 month free, and just I don't have to worry about the bookkeeping. And Shimpei, can you teach them how to use free in your consultation?
Yeah.
Okay. And assess, probably, yeah, for your question, probably initial I think they charge 12,000 yen an hour.
Yeah.
Cool. Does anyone else have any questions? If not, I think there's one I didn't address.
We got one more.
There's one more from Gareth, if you could check that.
Maybe two more. Hayashi-san. For those who just started a new business, Okay. Is it 20% of all 20? The answer is October to December income. It's not all 2023.
Oh, any other questions? And there's one, I think, okay, from Pablo. I have to find Pablo's question, but please check the chat. I'm looking for Pablo's question right now. I'll answer Ces's question in a second. So for Pablo's question, it was if we have different invoices is completely fine. Or if we have different, so Pablo, for your question, it's today's presentation is on the qualified invoice system. So you don't have to follow the qualified invoice system, but and if you're making less than 10 million, it's probably better not to not to be on the qualified invoice system. But if you're over 10 million, or if your clients want to force you to, then you probably have to do it. But if your corporations try to force you to and you're under 10 million, you should just try to negotiate a discount, giving them a discount instead, because then you might save more money meaning that you won't have to return the sales tax you've collected back to the government, consumption tax. So you'll earn more money by giving them a discount.
Okay, and 2 more questions.
For Garrett's question.
Okay. At 20% forever, or does it go up to? 20% will last for 3 years. And sorry, I'll check it.
Yeah, I think that's what you answered. I think 20% until the end of 2025, 50% from 2026, 100%. Cool. So, thank you very much, everyone.